I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet.
That's right. Everyone, welcome over to the Moose Vu Sesh, where we are giving hope in a different dose. I'm Blake Moose, aka the Black Moose.
And I'm Vu Fam.
That's what's up.
Giving hope in a different dose.
That's right. We've got to repeat it. We've got to repeat it twice because we need to get this into your head to make it a household name.
That's right, man.
The number one place. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well as all of our socials, Instagram and all these things, Facebook, and we can be found on your favorite podcast platform. So wherever you go, just keep up to date. We've got some good stuff. So this is our very first episode, and basically what it is we're just introducing not only ourselves but what we're about and why we are putting this up.
Man, we just want to go out there and we want to share some stories, you know, give like we introduced it, you know, we're giving hope in a different dose. So we're going to invite people in, let them share their stories, you know, of how their lives changed, you know, and where was the pivot point of it, and just sharing their experience in a way that, you know, where anybody can relate to. You know, we're not talking about just the, you know, you got to be a doctor or whatever, man. We're talking about, you know, from scumbags to, you know, to guys like me that have been inside prison for, you know, almost 2 decades.
Almost
you know?
2 decades.
2 decades, bro.
Dude,
man.
how old are you now?
Man, I am 38, man.
Man.
I spent more than half my life in there. Yeah, man, and we want to reach out to those people, give them a bit of hope, man, that there is something out there for them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We're real people with real problems. We serve a real God, and that makes the difference.
That's right, man, and we're going to do it all raw, man.
Yes.
You
So
know?
basically what you're going to see is there's not going to be any cuts, no edits. Prior to our interviewing other people, we're going to give them the T's and C's here. This is what it is. Are you in for the ride?
Yeah, man. It's all about taking people on a emotional roller coaster of life, you know, and it's going to be awesome to see, you know. It's going to be, man, sometimes it's going to make you cry. Some guests will make you, you know, we're going to push some buttons, push some boundaries. Yeah, and we're just going to give you, we're here to give you an experience, you know, and give you just hope.
By all means, we're just ordinary guys. You know, we're not professional speakers or anything like that, but we've got a motive, we've got a mission, and the only difference is we got mics and we got YouTube and a podcast subscription.
That's it, man. And we've got a good cameraman.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Shout out to Ross Tomei. Thank you so much for you know, just utilizing your services and also the cameras as well. Thank you so much. Now, you mentioned prison. You mentioned prison. So almost 2 decades in prison. Was that consistent or was that like in and out and in and out?
No, that was in and out. But I can tell you that I've spent 19 birthdays in there.
19 birthdays.
You know, and I have, you know, I've been inside prison for majority of my life.
Yeah. And with those 19 birthdays, every time that you had a birthday, did that feel like, what was your mindset at the time? I suppose year by year.
You know, as time went by, you know, and looking back now, man, I hated birthdays.
Mm-hmm.
Every time it would come out to a birthday, or any time it was something special like Christmas, Easter, New Year's, and I'd be so, you know, I'd be so depressed. I'd be so alone because, you know, I'm stuck in a 2x4 cell. You know, with nothing except for the cockroaches in my room to celebrate it with me, and I felt like I was missing out on things, man. You know, everyone out there was, you know, they were all partying, and which actually led me to disengage from the outside world, which led me to isolate myself.
Yeah. So when you were released from prison at those times, you felt disengaged and you wanted to isolate yourself.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
So what would happen to me was I started treating prison as my home.
Yep.
So the longest stretch I served was a 12 and a half year stretch. and being locked up for over a decade, man. And then coming outside of prisons, so much things had gone past, gone by. My friends have gotten older. All the people I knew had moved on, had families.
Yeah.
Some got out of the game, and what happened to me was I felt like I was all alone, and
Yeah.
the only people that I could turn to and speak to were people that I met inside prison.
Yeah. Inmates. Okay.
So my only network of people were prisoners.
Right. And how did that make you feel where your old mates outside moved on, families and such? How did that make you feel? How did you respond or react toward them?
I didn't have any resentment.
Yeah.
I from my understanding, I knew, man, that was all a part of life. But for me, it was like I felt like I was left all alone.
Yeah.
I had no one. To a point where I had been inside prison for so long that I even stopped talking to my family. And I stopped talking to my mum. I stopped talking to everyone in my family, and I distanced myself because I felt like I was I was like the bad guy.
Yeah. Which encouraged you to do bad for you to want to, return back home in a sense. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So home was my prison. Like I said, home was my prison. And whenever I got out of prison, man, I'd run amok. I'd go absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy, man. I'll be robbing banks. I'll be robbing drug dealers. I'll be selling drugs. I'll be having I'd have a ball because I didn't care about the law. I didn't care that I'd go back to prison because, man, I'm already. It was my home. It was everyone I knew was there.
Yeah.
Every time I got out of prison, it was like a holiday to me. I'd be out for 3 or 4 months and then back inside prison again.
And I know and understand. As far as just being trapped and isolated, did you tend back in those days to find to blame other people because of your circumstances? Was that a growing development, or did you sort of just come to yourself? I'm just going to own it. I'm just going to do whatever I'm going to do.
Yeah. Let me take you back. I take you back a bit.
Yep.
So I come from a broken family. My father left me when I was 12 years old. I had no fatherly figure. I had no role models, man. My role models were Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, same.
And NWA. They were my role models. And the environment where I lived in, which was Cabramatta back in the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
Man, it was heroin infested. It was it was gang territory. You're either a drug dealer or you're a gang member. So I grew up at the age of 13 joining a gang because because why? Because I had no one to tell me better. No one to say that, man, you got to go do good things. Man, I just grew up in the environment.
Yeah, that's right. So even by just listening to that, and I'm sure that other people who are listening to that can relate this, and I certainly can. We will endeavor to find a father figure in our life, whether it'd be in a man, whether it'd be in music through other people or in a gang, whether it'd find us or we will find it. We will endeavor for that father figure in our lives.
Yeah. It's like this as you're growing up. You know what I mean? You want direction. You want people to tell you where you're heading. You want someone to tell you, oh, man, you're doing good.
What do you say to those people who say, "Oh, I don't need a father figure. I'm gonna make my own footsteps, and I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do and whatever I see fit." What would you say to those people?
You're gonna end up in prison, man. Simple as that. You're gonna end up 6 foot or in prison, man. 6 foot under in prison, man. you know, because man, man, it's as growing up as a young man, you know, we need these people to guide us. You know, we're looking for belonging. We're
Yeah.
looking for someone to say, "Look, man, this is where you're going to go." And you know, and being very young, we're very easily influenced as well.
Yes.
You know, I tell you the truth, man. Like most of the things that I done, I didn't want to do it.
Yep.
You know, because we're right. We all got consciences, right?
Yes, that's right.
We all got consciences. We're birthed and we have a conscience, man.
Yeah. There's all that restraint
Yeah, you
before
know,
we take
yeah,
to
yeah,
want to take off that seatbelt and just
yeah,
wrong.
man. It's like, man, are you gonna rob this place but you know it's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna rob it anyway. You know, and you know, there's always that fight within you. You know, and yeah, without the right guidance. You know, as a young man growing up, you know, man, it could cost you your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and yeah,
And I'm sure it's just a miracle of you being here, talking to a dude like me, who has had no affiliation with the gang life.
yeah, man.
Or just wanted to be one because I was listening to hip hop music and knowing people.
But yeah, man, it's so, you know, I find guys like you so interesting because you know you lived a different life from me. You know, and like what you find intriguing is the same thing, you know, in me. I find intriguing in you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like a light and shade. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, like man, you just like you grew up in the same area as
Yeah.
me, too.
2166.
Yeah, that's us the OGs
Who
on the
cares?
2166.
That's right. Who cares about postcodes, man?
Man, what about all this rap stuff going on about all these districts and you know these
Drill music.
Yeah. Drill is that even music?
Not sure.
You know, and I'm watching these things the other day on my computer, and they're actually doing. You know, these young men, these young guys are actually, you know, doing violence to each other, man. And man, it's so sad to say, so sad to see that all over a postcode. Like really, if it had some money involved in it, I understand. But the postcode, the government owns it.
Yeah.
They don't own it. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. I must admit, I do like. I mean, I do like the beat.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have made a drill song, and
Yeah, because you're a rapper.
Yeah.
I understand that, but
I didn't suppose I call myself a rapper. I just talk in a rhythmic fashion.
okay, all right. Man, I think I want to try to talk like that too. Let's see how I sound. but yeah, but it's so you know what I see, from my understanding of growing up in a gang and what I'm seeing now, man, it's man, why are you fighting over these little, you know, postcodes or area codes when none of you are making money?
And why do you want to be a gangster?
Yeah, why do you want to be gangster, man? What do you want to spend yourself 20 years locked up in a fishbowl for? What do you want to do that to yourself for? You know? Go out, you know, and come out institutionalized, having problems, man.
Yep.
You know, man, exactly the same way that I came out, man. I had problems, man. I was institutionalized. And, you know, man, just for God's grace and God's mercy that, man, I'm sitting here in my right mind speaking to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
You got a Vietnamese. I'm talking to a Vietnamese dude, and I'm a Filipino and Lebanese fella. Oh gosh, we're all messed up. All mixed up and messed up. Now, as a Christian now, you've been a Christian for what, 4 years?
Yeah,
Almost
just
4 years?
over 4 years now.
Fantastic.
Man.
That's amazing. What was the turning point? Because I know, you know, when you come to Christ, when you repent, put your trust in Jesus. There's that fine line, right? Yeah. Because you know, out with the old, in with the new, but you don't become a perfect man, a priest or a pastor straight away. Right? I'm sure it's a process. That's right. But there would have been a pivot point, right? Tell us about that that pivot point, that make or break point in your life where I'm gonna push it aside. I'm gonna live for God, live clean.
Well, it was out of desperation.
Yeah.
Man. I'd come to a point in my life where, I was either gonna end up dead,
Yep.
all right, or I'm gonna end up back behind bars, and I didn't want that anymore. I was 35. I had no vision, man. I couldn't see anything beyond that anymore.
Yep.
Man, and I was so heavily hooked on heroin and on ice. Man, I didn't know where I had no sense of direction at all.
Yep.
I didn't know whether I was going up. I didn't know whether I was going down, left or right. I didn't know where I was going. I was just so sick of it. So it drove me to a place where, man, I became suicidal. And I remember, my friend, he brought me to church, and and no, he didn't bring me to church. Sorry, he brought me to a garage. And I know, sounds funny, And he said,
Starting to look seedy now.
and he told me, "Oh man, can you meet my pastor?" I said, "Yeah." And this dude came out, and man, he was heavily tattooed. I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking, man, you just bring me to set me up or something and get me killed or something. What's going on here?
Dude looks just like me.
Yeah, yeah, man. This guy's heavily tattooed. He got chingy eyes like me, man. This ain't happening. Yeah, so he came out and he said, "Man, look, Vu, I can't help you, but I know someone who can."
Yeah.
He said, "Jesus can help you."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Oh." So he goes, "I'll just repeat after me." And I said a prayer. And that day, I remember, I was so high, man. I didn't know where I was.
Wow.
All right. And I just sat and I said,
You were high while you prayed?
I was high when I was praying.
That is
man.
sacrilege.
That is, I was so high, but obviously it done something to me.
Yeah.
It was the next morning. All right, the next morning I went back to my hotel room. I had a sleep. All right. Next morning, my friend and the pastor calls me back up, and he says, "Man, can you want to come to morning prayers?" And I'm thinking in my head, morning prayers, yeah, all right. I got nothing better to do. I got no drugs left, so I might as well come. I got nothing left, so I might as well come. So I came, and he's and I remember walking into a place that was it was actually a community hall, and he goes, "Oh, let's go in a prayer room," and he walked me into a closet. The place looked like it was smaller than my jail cell I've been used to. And I said, "Oh, is this a prayer room?" It was more like
Humblest of places.
yeah, it was more like a storeroom.
Yeah. Where they store all the bodies here as well. What's going on?
So he's walking me in there, and he said this to me: "Vu, just ask God for forgiveness." And I said, "Yeah, all right." And I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know how to do none of that. And he knew that. He just asked for God for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And I started doing that. I got down on my knees and I started asking God for forgiveness, man. And, what happened to me right there and then, man, it was like, it was like God, something ripped my heart out, man. It gave me a heart transplant right there and there.
Yeah.
Man, because if you knew me when I was in prison, man, I was a character, man. I spent a number of years in segregation. Segregation is a place where you're all alone. Yeah, I spent a number of years in the Supermax as well, where they keep the worst of the jail system. And from getting back to the story, I was a pretty cold-hearted person. You know, I've done some things I'm not proud of. A lot of, you know, I had a lot of things weighing on my shoulder for a long time.
Yeah.
Long time, you know. This guilt was, man, it was eating at me, man, for a very long time with things that I had done. You know, which drove me to being suicide as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, at that moment, when I felt God just rip his hand into my heart and boom, gave me a new one. Man, I was there, man. I'll tell you something, man. I felt so insignificant, man. I knew from that moment on there was something out there that was much bigger than me,
Yeah.
much scarier than me, more powerful.
So it's like you Googled out.
Yeah, man. It was like, man, I don't know what it was, man. And to this day, man, I'm not going to try to understand it. I'm not going to try to understand God. What happened to me there? I'm just going to accept it.
You can't make that up.
I can't make it up. And what I felt there and then, man,
Yeah.
man, and at the same time, man, it was like, man, a burden had been lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you something, man. Inside my head, man, if someone could really go inside my head for a day or a few seconds, I guarantee you, their head would explode. Their head would go bum. You know, but yeah, man, God, man, that moment right there, man, boom. And you know what? That day, I still remember, was 7th of April 2016 was the day that I gave myself to Jesus Christ. Man, it was so liberating, man. It was so, man, I never felt such a, man, I don't know how to explain it, man. But, man, I'll tell you what, man. I was tiny. And I'm a big man. Yeah. I'm not a little man, man. I'm a big man.
You are a big man. I remember when I first you were a much smaller man, thinner man. And we were at already. Well, I'll explain the story again as per our previous episode. But your pastor.
Yeah.
We're all out of fellowship, or hanging around at someone else's house, just having fun.
Yeah.
He had to go with his fam, and I'm sure, you know, his his car was packed. He called me and he said, "Hey Blake, are you able to drop this guy off? He lives nearby your house." Yeah, what's his name? Yeah, Vu. Yeah, he's you know, he's a new believer. Yeah, great. You know, he was a former, you know, gang member and went inside on all these things. But yeah, no pressure, no trouble.
Yeah. I was just, I'll take in all the serial killers. No worries. I'll drive them home for you.
So okay, and obviously my wife was there, and our first daughter was there. She was about a few months. Okay, what's what can go wrong? What can go wrong? And I saw you, man, and hey, how you going? It was a bit awkward at first, I confess. And we're on the way home. You crack these jokes, bro. Yeah, you just crack. I can't remember them.
Yeah,
but we hit it off. It was fun.
Yeah, man. I remember, man. That was a blast, man. I had it in that car, man. Yeah. I think, man. I was like, man. I was only a couple of days old.
Yeah.
You know, being a Christian, being a new believer.
Yeah.
I was only like, not even a week, man. You know, but yeah, man. So, man, not in any other day, I think if I wasn't a Christian, I'd get in the car with you.
I was going to say the same
thing. You'd let me in the car.
What would I... Oh, yeah.
And lock the cars and drive off on me.
Me? With a Vietnamese man in my car?
I'm sorry.
Who is this Lebanese? You know?
Yeah. But yeah,
that's
man.
right. Out of all days, man. And one thing I do appreciate, man, our brotherhood and our friendship just over these years, and you know, me even learning from you, man, just by your experience, your testimony, you've just been a tremendous encouragement. I just really do value this, man, and I appreciate you calling me just to start what we have now, you know.
Yeah, man, this is awesome, man. You know, it's awesome because, man, not in a million years.
No.
What I think, man, I'll be sitting here doing this, man.
Yeah, that's right. Not like we believe in evolution or anything. That's just a figure of speech to whoever's listening. You know? For all you Darwinism. Darwin's in the Northern Territory, isn't it?
So yeah, man, and man, it's just an absolute joy.
Yep.
You know, one of my best things is for me to share my story of what God has done.
Yep.
You know, and I just share bits and pieces of it, to some people, and that sometimes I get the reaction where their jaw just drops all the way to their feet, and they're like, "Man, am I really? Is this guy for real?"
Mm-hmm.
I get that all the time. Yeah, and a lot of people like because I'm still around in the same neighborhood.
Yep.
A lot of people tend to come up to me and go to me, "Hey, Vu, I heard you're a Christian now." And
Yeah, bro.
I go, "Yeah." And they're like, they're so happy because they don't have to watch behind their back anymore.
Oh man, wow. So how is that like? You meeting old mates or enemies or whatever. How is that like?
You know, man, they are 100% for it, man.
Wow.
They've seen
Amazing.
how my life has changed, and
Yeah.
and it's that experience where they look at me and they go, "Man, he's got something I want."
Yeah.
A lot of them are still in the game. They're still doing this and that. But I tell you what, they're not happy. It's all fake, man.
Yeah.
All that stuff. They're driving around in nice cars and that. But at the end of the day, when they put their head on their pillow, man, they're not having a sound sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, they're constantly watching their backs. You know, and yeah, when I approach them, man, they see it in me. You know, and I hope that encourages them to turn your life around, man. There's something better for you out there.
Yeah, straight.
You know.
And I don't know how you feel, man. Every time I see old schoolmates, people that I used to hang around with back in the day, again, it's just the same conversation, just to try to whatever I can do to encourage or tell them and share them the gospel, share them my story.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what else I'm going to talk about.
Yeah.
What, the UFC?
Yeah. But it's so funny, but and yet they always see you so happy. What's been going on in your life?
Yep.
You know, they want that. They always want that. You know, I have friends that are multi-millionaires, and they trade it all in, to be as happy as me. But they can't find themselves to do it. That's a sad thing about it, eh?
Because it's like that. It's like that rich young ruler. He had all these possessions.
Yeah,
Jesus
couldn't
said
give it up.
the very thing, couldn't give it up. That's
Couldn't
right.
give it up, man. Couldn't give it up, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So how are we doing for this? You 30 minutes?
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's all the time we have for now. We'll take a break.
That's a wrap for.
Yeah, we'll take a bit of a break, but you'll see next episode next time, and we'll let you know. We'll let you guys know after. If you have any requests, whatever it may be, subscribe, message us. What else?
And we're still giving hope in a different dose.
In a different dose. That's right. This is the Moose and Vu podcast. Black Moose and Vu fam signing out.
Yeah.
I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet. I'ma bounce back like a ricochet.